Buckeyes are preparing for battle, and you're preparing to listen to them. Equally important, this is the Fan Warm-Up Show.
Presented by the Ohio State Army ROTC. Decide to lead today.
Happy College Basketball Monday, everybody. Brandon Beam here, Jacob Reimer behind the glass. Big one tonight over at the Shot, coming up 1 hour away from right now. Paul Keels, Ron Stokes. They will take you through the evening as Ohio State entertains number 10, Nebraska. That's right, the 10th ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers come into town this evening. You're not hearing that wrong. That is correct. If you haven't been paying attention, Nebraska comes in undefeated on the year. They are 14-0 this year. They ended the season on a 4-game win streak last year. They are 18 games unbeaten currently. Nebraska, Jake Diebler, he was asked about this a little bit yesterday, talking about the Cornhuskers win streak.
First off, Fred's done a great job with this year's team. And, I think they're really good. Last year's team, that game we played here, high-level game, was a huge game for both of us. And I think it's a big reason why, our league needed to change the postseason conference tournament rules is because a team like Nebraska, who, by all accounts was on the bubble, didn't get a chance to win some games in the conference tournament to potentially get in. So I'm glad, that changed so that all those teams in our league who have that chance this year, can do that. Then they go and had great success in the Crown and carried that on to this year. This year they got different guys, but, the guy who's been with them for a long time, the two guys really been with them for a long time, and Mast and Hoiberg are two really important players for him. And you add Sanford, who knows the league, and listen, they can really shoot the ball, really shoot the ball. They have 5 guys on the floor that could shoot most every minute of the game. Best thing they do right now, though, is guard. They're doing a great job protecting the paint. They're, really how elite they've been defensively. So when you combine that with their ability to, I think, flip a game or gain momentum in a game with their three-point shooting, that's why they're playing so well.
Nebraska's tail of the tape so far this season in Big Ten play. Well, obviously, you can't lose a game when you're undefeated on the year. They beat Wisconsin at home 90-60. Absolutely hammered the Badgers a little bit early on in that December window. They beat Illinois on the road, which is already a team that Ohio State lost to at home 83-80. And then just over the weekend, a terrific game against Tom Izzo and Sparty against Michigan State at home, 58-56 winners. For Ohio State, by the way, if you were not paying attention this past weekend, I thought it was a solid performance by the Buckeyes. 80-73 victors over Rutgers, down 15 in the first half. Now, this is a Rutgers team who was hungry coming into the game, and they were going to give you their best puncher's chance. Ohio State weathered that storm. They really had a nice little middle 8 period between the closing 4 minutes of the first half, the opening 4 minutes of the second half, got the lead. It was a back-and-forth game from then, but Ohio State ultimately took over. Devin Royal was terrific, and then John Mobley Jr. has not had a turnover in 3 games, and Bruce Thornton is Bruce Thornton, which is very nice. What about Jake Diebler talking about the difference that he sees in his team from 1 month ago today?
You get seasoned. We've had a lot of close games in there, and that helps prepare you for what's to come. I also think we've had to make some adjustments on the fly. We haven't shot the ball as well as we're capable of. So our guys deserve a lot of credit. They've adjusted within games to be efficient offensively. I think our offensive efficiency has been good. Even really, us not shooting at the level we're capable of from 3. So we've had to make some tweaks and adjustments. We played some more zone, which was something we felt like going into our, we'll call it a holiday break, felt like something we could do coming out of it, and so far it's been good for us. So I think mixing up defenses can help us. And I think when you're going through the season, especially in Big Ten play, you can't stay the same. You got to get better, certainly, but you may have to adjust what better looks like throughout the course of conference play, and I like where we're at right now.
I think there's a lot to like about this team tonight at home taking on an undefeated Rutgers team. It was a crazy game last year that they played, so if that's got anything in store for us tonight, we should all be very excited for 6:30 tip-off over the Shot. Speaking of the Shot, let's head over there and check in with our great friend Ron Stokes.
It's time to go inside the Buckeyes with OSU basketball analyst and former captain Ron Stokes.
Ron, thanks for the time. Always appreciate it. Before we get to your Nebraska opinion and the 14-0 Huskers, how about that performance last week by the Buckeyes? Down 15, stormed back, looked great, and ultimately had a 7-point victory over the Scarlet Knights at the Rack.
That's what you got to do. That's a tough place to get wins. You got to give Coach Pico a lot of credit in terms of what he's been able to do, bringing in players. And they had a down year last season, but you can tell that this team this year kind of mimics what we've seen in recent years. They came ready to play. They were 0-2 in Big Ten. You can tell that they had their walls against their back, but some of their key players were playing at an elite clip. And Ohio State answered that punch by a great second half.
What were you more impressed with, Ron? The ability for Devin Royal, and you can say both in this, the ability for Devin Royal to kind of take over the end of the game there, because he looked way more assertive, I thought, in that last 5-6 minutes of that Rutgers game, or John Mobley Jr., 3 games now without a single turnover, which I would imagine that's a pretty tough thing to accomplish.
I think both. I think you're right, but I really like John Mobley's growth. And people forget he's only a sophomore, and we put so much pressure on these young people to perform like they're seniors, because there's some elite players that can do that. But I mean, like, to your point, 3 straight games with 4 assists in each one of those games with no turnover. That is huge for him. That shows his growth in his game in terms of understanding the pace and speed. And you put that with what you have with Bruce Thornton, clearly one of the top 1-2 punches in terms of backcourt players in all of the Big Ten.
Ron, what did you make of Ohio State going to zone? I thought it was more zone than they had played really the entire year against Rutgers. I was listening to Jake Diebler kind of talk about it. They've been working on it in practice. They still want to play man. That's their base defense that they're in. But I did think it was interesting. It did kind of give them a little bit of lift on the road against Rutgers.
The one thing I love in seeing Coach Diebler, he's growing as a head coach. He's been under some really great head coaches as an assistant, but I thought his decision to prepare and throw in some zone was big, and it really was effective. And yes, you're right. They were working on it during the shoot-around that same day, talking about what the emphasis would be and how Rutgers would try to adjust, and I thought the team were well prepared for that, and they executed, and that was a big reason why they were able to come back and win.
Dave Dickerson, I got a chance to talk to him on post-game, Ron, for the Rutgers game, and I told him about your comments that you rarely see Dave Dickerson get fired up, and he very much enjoyed that you made a mention of him getting fired up during a free throw substitution against Rutgers over the weekend.
Hey, part of the game is emotion and passion, and then sometimes a coach, whether it's obviously the head coach is very important, but I tell you, those little comments by the assistant coaches, whether a guy makes a mistake or he makes a great play, to get that reassurance from an assistant coach goes a long way. So, yeah, I love when Coach D gets fired up. That tells me that he's into it big time.
Ron, before we get you out of here, what do you do with this Rank Mast fella tonight for Nebraska? Because he's all over the place. This is a very good Nebraska shooting team. 18 games that they have won in a row. They are 14-0 this season. Fred Hoiberg, a terrific job so far with Nebraska. What's the game plan tonight against Nebraska and trying to get a top 10 victory at home?
I don't know if you can shut him down, but clearly do not allow him to repeat what he did on January 23rd, 2024, when he had 34 against Ohio State, 4 assists, 10 rebounds, 6 for 8 from beyond the arc. Just don't let him have that kind of game, right? Make him be normal here tonight. Hopefully that improve Ohio State's chances of winning.
Score some points. Just don't go for 35.
Don't go for 34, 35.
Yeah, 16 to 20. It's okay. Yeah. I think everybody would take that. Ron, always appreciate the time. Have a great call. Enjoy the friendly confines of the shot this evening, and we will check in again Thursday late night, at least here, all right?
Yep, go Bucks.
There he goes. Ron Stokes with us here every single pregame show. By the way, Ohio State, after this game against Nebraska, on the road, at Oregon, and then at Washington. That Oregon game is a 10:30 game. Get this one. Get it done. It's a top 10 victory you could possibly get. Everybody have a fantastic evening. We'll talk to you post-game. Paul and Ron up next from the shop. Buckeye Hoops up next on The Fan.
You've been listening to The Fan Warmup Show.
Presented by the Ohio State Army, ROTC. Decide to lead today.
Stay tuned for Buckeye basketball on your flagship home for Ohio State athletics.